It just may be the three of us and Brandon. Where you been, Brandon? I can hear myself coming through my earphones again, but
Here we
I
go
think
with
it's going to be
this.
one of those episodes. What was that thing we used to use in the old days? It was
Light
Who
light
bought it?
stream.
Yeah, Videndum bought it. What's it called again? Lightstream.
Was that the thing
Happy
that used
Wednesday.
to just break the whole time?
Yeah, like we'd be about 5 minutes in, and then about 20 minutes later, we'd start the show again. Sometimes with a new link. Thaddeus is
New
here.
link, everything. Never worked.
Oh, it was garbage. I mean, Ecamm is so much more reliable. Though I do feel like I should have dialed this in a little bit. I'm looking a little funky. You guys look great.
What is up,
Huh?
Brandon?
Yeah. Brandon, it's been
Thaddeus.
It's been busy. You know, I'm trying, Brandon. It's, the realities of being in this business. But it shall get rectified in the near future. Welcome. It's Wednesday. It's June 7th. I'm back with my mates over here. Have we even done an episode since our post NAB? I feel like it's 6 months later. But here we are.
It's been
It's been a while.
It's been a mess. It's been a mess.
I've posted like 2 videos in the last 3 months, I think. It feels like, at least. I definitely have been doing like a video every 3 weeks or something.
Well, let's have a drink,
So.
whether it's leaded or
Yes,
unleaded.
let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right, who's going first? Come on.
I gotta clear a vessel, so somebody else.
What's that? Oh, Ben, you're up. Let me see. Boom. There you go.
All right, so this is Aspballs.
What?
This is
Again?
Imperial-
Oh,
Imperial-
boy. Oh, boy. You were back at it again with some ass balls. Okay, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, this is so I'm in the UK at the moment, and this is one of those things that you just cannot get good cider in the Czech Republic. So this is 8%, and it's a whole pint. So it's
Yeah.
that'll be
You're going
be
in
for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Love me some good ass balls cider. I mean, is that what it's actually called? What's
That's
it called?
the brand, Aspball.
Unbelievable. Caleb, what do you have in,
I think
sir?
that's not gonna go.
All right.
That's
So
ridiculous.
I realized I didn't have a cup. So I'm going to pour my water into my coffee mug.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't want coffee to screw up the flavor of what I'm about to bust out, which I've tasted. And I don't even know how to describe it. So let me get it out.
Oh, boy.
The other guys have seen this.
Oh, boy. What is
But
this?
we're
oh.
going
Oh yeah.
to China.
Whoa.
Have you tasted this yet?
Oh, yeah.
I have.
Wait.
And I don't know how to describe it. So
Well, do you describe it as good?
yes, I would. Different, very different. And by the way,
Yeah.
let me know if I need to do anything with this microphone. I last second changed mics.
No, it's good. No, I feel like you're doing it.
1573 fermented in National Cellar 1573. And that's all it says. Let's Liao China. It was a gift from a company that we're all familiar with
Yes.
that I won't say. But yeah. So it's I don't know how to describe it. It's incredibly floral. It gives me like gin vibes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of ginny. Kind of like a what's that one gin that's my wife really likes? It's Hendrix.
Yeah.
Like the
Hendrix.
very
Yeah.
aromatic
Hendrix is great.
floral notes, but it smells like feet. But it doesn't taste like feet
perfect.
at all.
Great.
So I have no
you
idea
Googled it?
what it is.
It's like the durian. It's like
A
the
little bit,
durian of distilled drinks, because durian's that fruit that smells like.
yeah.
People describe it as smelling like vomit
Yeah, it
or
smells
something,
horrible.
but it tastes delicious.
Smells like it's a mix between bowling alley,
Yeah. Before or after they
roller-
spray the
roller
shoes.
s- Yeah, the shoe, like when you're going to get the shoes,
Yeah.
and like bottom of like a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit.
Wow.
It's really bad.
Not an
It's
IKEA, not an
real
IKEA
gross.
ball pit, a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit.
No, Chuck E. Cheese. Whoops. So yeah, it's something, but it tastes. I don't know. How. I wish everyone could try it with me. Everyone, I've only had a little bit since I got it because I was having some tummy issues last time we hung out.
Yes.
Doing a lot better, pretty much back to normal.
Good.
But I've had other people try it, and everyone has just they don't know what to do with it. But it's good.
Good.
We tried
Anyway,
it
that's that.
with tonic, with it being gin.
No. No, I feel like it tastes too good to mix. I enjoy it straight.
Okay.
It's really nice to sip on. But it's just
I gotta
really,
work
I don't know
fast.
how to. Yeah, I don't know how to.
I'm just gonna grab
Yeah.
a different cup. Just a step. back for 1
Abalor
second.
tube.
They've been
that
out of
looks
stock.
like?
They've been
Ooh,
they've
nice.
been out of stock of the Abunak for a long time. I finally got it back. It's my favorite scotch. It
nice.
still is. It's still number one for me.
What is that? The 18, 12?
No, it's the
15?
Abunak. It doesn't have an age on it, but it's
okay.
cast strength.
I'm gonna have to try this one.
So this one is 121.6 proof,
Nice.
non-chill filtered. So it's the real deal. It'll probably take me about 10 minutes to open it, but other than that, give me a second. I should have done this before the show, but I didn't have time. Let's welcome everybody. I'm gonna maybe
Yeah, we got
do this.
Brandon,
Yeah.
Thaddeus, Brad, Foggle. Howdy, folks. Has anyone found an image of the capture device used for the NBA Vision Pro demo? I have no idea what any of that means. And we've got
the
Sideline.
Vision,
What's
the
up,
Vision,
Sam?
the Vision Pro, the new Apple headset thing. The whole thing.
Oh, got
Yeah,
it.
what's the capture device for that? There's a lot of things going on inside that headset, and,
Yeah.
and quite frankly,
NBA.
it kind of scares the bejesus out of me, to be honest with you, because I think
The whole
I think it's the
sequence
beginning
with
of the end.
With the Asian lady talking to someone.
Yeah, or
It's
the
just
dad,
wrong.
the,
Seeing the eyes
or the
through it.
dad with his kids. Like you're gonna be looking at your kids with a headset on.
And they're going, Dad, can I have a go? No, son. This was $3,500.
You're not touching it. You're never touching this.
Exactly.
The whole thing is a little creepy.
But it's amazing.
I think
What
for
I'm seeing
gaming
is
it
great,
could
but
be
you're not
really
touching
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I just built this home theater, and now depending on what that thing sounds like and what it looks like, a couple generations in, I could see you could have a closet or just comfortable seating for a bunch of people and be able to enjoy a movie together. Very weirdly, but still.
Oh, are you done? Can we drink now?
Cheers.
Yes. Okay.
And then
Cheers, everybody.
we're going back to that.
Cheers.
Okay.
I'm drinking this out of a mug, which is ridiculous, but the glasses are over there and I'll trip over the camera. So.
Oh, delicious. Well, it's great to see you and everybody here in the chat. Dustin, good to have you here. Quick question for you, Caleb. Just finish that thought. It's not actually a question, but you were talking about you could see in the generation 2,
So
generation 3.
So I'm not not sitting on a couch looking at each other with these helmets. That's weird. Like day-to-day use, that's weird. But I totally, as someone who's a huge gamer, I could see this being a great, because one of the most fun you can have as a gamer, in my opinion, is a LAN party where you all get together, you hook up all your machines together, you're sitting side by side, gaming together, and you only occasionally look over at each other when you have plastered the other or fragged the other, and reach over and try to punch either their screen or their face. So that kind of stuff's super fun. So having a helmet where it's even more immersive, but you're with each other in this weird collaborative, or watching a movie. Like if you're in a theater watching a movie together, you're not looking at each other a ton. Maybe every once in a while you're like, oh, dang. But I could see that essentially bringing a theater-like experience to a group of people collaboratively in a not theater environment. So, a couch, all of you sit down and it's like you're in a movie theater. Definitely theaters are super screwed at this point with this kind of tech coming out. Oh, man, it's bad. It's only going to get worse. Anyway, so I could see in some environments, but that's not a I'm sitting down doing something in an app and someone comes up and we have a conversation and I keep the helmet on, at least in these early days, because it's weird, man. I don't know why they even bother with the eyes, the screen on the other side. That's just so weird. Or FaceTime. Yeah, you're going to FaceTime with your avatar so grandma can see your avatar. That's so weird.
Thanks, Joe.
And the video, it just looks like an episode of Black Mirror. The whole thing. It's just...
Yeah.
And because of the way that Apple are now presenting stuff, rather than the wandering around the stage keynote thing, all of those things are looking very, very, very like Black Mirror, and a little weird, and a little scary. But even from a practicalities kind of thing, I was looking at it thinking about all the ways that you could use that for, I spend a huge amount of time traveling, so that would be, I can see things where that would be amazing when you're in crappy hotel rooms or planes. But the battery life on it's atrocious.
2 hours.
That big external thing that comes off. And of course, the cable that goes down to is not USB-C, is it? It's all in. So you can't then take a load of power banks with you and swapping them out.
Well, it's some sort of proprietary connector instead of just being USB-C.
Of course it is. Yeah, why would it not be?
But there is USB-C in the headset that you can power through USB-C, apparently. But what I don't understand is, if I want to watch a movie with my family of 5, do I really want to have a starting price of $17,500 for us to all watch a movie together?
It's cheaper than building a home theater. And then,
I know, but
you have infinite space. But yes, I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, part of it is really cool. This whole... you're sitting there and you have this immersive experience, but part of it, along with conversations related to AI and everything else, we're already communicating with our children. Like, I'm trying to talk to my kid and my kid's like this all of the time. So maybe the headset's better because they'll at least sort of look at me, but through cameras. Because you're not actually looking at them, by the way. It's all optic. There's a screen that faces out.
Yeah.
And then it does a LiDAR scan and everything else. So you're just looking at a version of the person. What is happening to humanity?
Yeah.
There are everything in the news for the last month. I guess since last time I saw you, it just seems to be everything's AI, AI, AI. And then I read a really interesting article on Twitter, I think, which is by one of the engineers who'd worked on this technology for this product. And he was explaining how, with it scanning the retina, that they're actually working out what the decisions you're making, the things you're going to click on before you're clicking on them, in the way that your pupils shifting towards things. Not only where it's pointing, but as that's kind of moving or twitching or whatever it is that it's doing, it's going, that's where that click's going to happen. So all of that's really interesting, and there's all sorts of brilliant application for it, but it's a little scary.
It's going to be from a practical standpoint, I think Apple has always been version 3. Agreed. So the third generation of the product is usually where it really settles in and they smooth things out and it really has the ecosystem. I mean, there's no doubt that what they're doing is way ahead of what Meta's doing and most of the other companies. They've been in the laboratory for a decade figuring this out. And this is no joke. And the fact that there's virtually no latency and there's this, sort of mind reading magic in terms of where you're looking and what you're doing. And I am very confident that once you start using the device, it's going to be magical. But there's very little attraction for me except for a viewing experience as somebody who's just watching something or, doing that, to have a giant thing on my head. It's never been appealing, but we'll see.
No. And the thing you were talking about your kids and the way that interaction is, I think is potentially worrying with it, but we'll see. But as Joe at Alpha Creative has suggested, what it's really exciting for me is to being able to edit with it. Just having that workspace
Yep.
that you can go into, you can be anywhere. I can have my head at a proper angle. I'm not. That stuff's really, really, really interesting.
Yeah,
And the
it's
3.5
Minority
grand,
Report. Yeah.
right? Yeah, you do. But 3.5 grand for that, if that really works, and I think Final Cut's already compatible with it and a version optimized for it. I seem to remember reading.
Well, I think it's its own. Yeah, it's its own OS, but you can also just connect to another
You just
device.
look at a computer screen, and that becomes
And
a
then
space
boom.
that you can use.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if there's low latency, and if I can have my personal favorite keyboard and mouse, then yeah, zero gravity chair. You don't have to worry about this huge display over your head. Literally a chair with a helmet and a keyboard and mouse, which actually is pretty dope.
Yeah, for a
Now I need to,
professional.
like,
yes.
pay attention
No.
to this. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't
For a
think about it till now.
professional.
I'm like, oh, that's cool.
No, it's if you're using it for work, for a creative tool, then 3.5 grand starting at, who knows what the rest of that means, isn't
heck,
that bad.
a monitor.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
I know.
If the color's decent on it and all that stuff,
It will
I mean, a
be.
good cinema display. That's
You go get a
most of the way there.
Flanders. You go get a great Flanders monitor, and now you're getting all of the other stuff. And by the time version 3 comes, the profile will reduce, the battery life will increase, and it will become more and more usable over time. There's no question that that's going to happen. It has to, because that's just the evolution of devices like this. Would you mind turning Ben's sound up some?
Okay, we'll try that. We can go up a
Benjamin
little
is
bit.
asking.
How's that? Is that sounding any better? Is that sounding all right?
That's
That's
a
not
bit.
peaking?
That's a bit. That's
Bit
a little
much,
too much.
Bit much.
Yeah.
How's that?
Split
That
the
all right?
difference. A little
That's
less.
different split, little less.
A little less. Yeah.
How's that? Better.
Yeah.
Hello,
It was
hello.
fine for me
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah, okay.
Ms.
Maybe it was just a bit I wasn't speaking in.
yeah, maybe. I think it's a little hot now, but that's fine.
I'll come
Imagine
down.
packing a MacBook Pro and Vision Pro in your carry-on for NAB. No brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for
Yes.
gaming, because DirectX is now in play for those who care. Essentially, you can run natively some of like the most, all kinds of Windows stuff are now natively supported
Yes.
on Apple hardware.
And
Oh, right,
Unity,
okay.
but no Epic. There's no Epic or Unreal because that's all NVIDIA. So the
But that's not going to be a
gonna
thing anymore. That most likely will all go away here shortly.
Yeah.
With
You think so?
DirectX 12. Yeah, well, just because with DirectX 12, there's a train coming by. There's you can just search for Mac OS or Mac whatever the new one is, M2. You don't even need the M2. Yeah, just search for Apple and DirectX 12 and you'll find all these videos talking about what is going on there. But essentially, most likely there's going to be Apple essentially is giving developers who are like, for example, making applications for Windows, a tool with a couple clicks, it'll be natively supported in on new Apple Silicon.
And that's not specific to the Vision Pro. That's for like my new MacBook Pro that I got with M2 Max.
So
that'll be
there was guys demoing playing Cyberpunk's 2077 Windows copy DirectX 12
like good frame
on
rates,
an M1.
good refresh. Really?
I mean, depending on your settings, on an M1 base level Mac Mini, like the $500 one.
Okay.
So now that that's in place, and Apple showed a graphic, like there's a huge amount of work that goes into porting something that was developed on a certain platform to another.
Yeah.
And they're like all these processes, we already did it, so you can just skip to the last little bit and use this tool that they've developed.
That's amazing.
To port it. So pretty nuts. So if that happens, I mean, we could in the next couple months, year, have Windows running with no sweat, probably even better than it would on native hardware on a Mac. So it's kind of like back to the good boot camp days. Remember when boot camp for a while was
yeah.
super good and it ran better than like on a Windows machine? So that whole like everyone freaking out about NVIDIA never being supported, that's probably why Apple was like, go pleasure yourself, because we're going to have something that's going to
Wow.
completely
Yeah, there you go.
skip.
But I have a question for you on that, Caleb, because I know one of the downsides to running Unreal on a Mac is because the NVIDIA GPU is not supported, clearly not part of the Silicon, ecosystem, that certain features of Unreal are not available. So it's like having a Ferrari, but you have like a Yugo engine inside of it, because you can't, for instance,
Right.
take advantage of ray tracing. So
Right, that is something that's over my head, pay grade wise,
Yeah.
is like what features won't be portable.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, it all comes down to processing power, right? Like if you have
Yep.
enough processing power, you can do, if you have a way for the languages to talk to each other in enough juice, you can make
Yep.
just about anything happen emulation wise.
Okay.
And that's what's so cool about Apple's hardware, is like it's all on one ginormous chip. So like the speed is like insane. There's no, you don't have
Yeah.
a big thing with fans on it that is plugged in with 16 pins going through a motherboard to a CPU. It's all, so that's where, why Apple's like specs are like so ridiculous right now, is it's essentially been like super.
I was just going to ask you something on that. Did you end up? I remember us talking in Vegas. Did you buy the studio
I
before
did.
this week's
Did you see
announcement?
my tweets recently?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
so
I saw
sent it
them,
back.
Caleb.
Roller coaster. What?
Yeah, it's time. It's time to get that mother back to the back in the box.
It's been a roller coaster. So here's what happened, right? I finally order it, and I'm never up to date, and no one knows anymore, right? Because like it used to be where Apple had a release schedule. Now they're just dropping new releases constantly. So I get the Mac Pro in, I get it here, and I know it's in the box. It sits there for a couple weeks because I can't just, I don't have time to just switch completely. I'm on like, not Catalina, but maybe I'm an old OS, so I can't go like to new hardware and new everything. So I'm like, all right, well, I have a video coming up where I'm going to use it. I'm going to rack mount it, so I got a rack mount for it, and so I started filming that, pulled it out of the box just to film it. Haven't even turned it on or plugged it in. Then this announcement happens. I check during the announcement, and I'm on the 30th day to be able to return it to B&H. So I start the RMA, don't hear anything. Usually they immediately reply back via email with their automated, here's your thing. I get nothing. So I jump on chat, and they say, ooh, actually, if you read this fine print page we have linked to in our return policy, any display, TV, or like computer that has been unsealed is no longer returnable within that 30 days. So I'm like, excuse me? So now I'm up a creek. I look at used sales. I haven't even turned the thing on yet. It's less than 30 days, or it's exactly 30 days old. Only pulled it out of the box. Look up used, but the prices are plummeting on eBay as everyone immediately starts flooding it with their also recent. So I tweet that out. I then get the email saying the RMA went through today.
Good. Thank
So
God.
then I'm like, sweet, thank goodness. So I start packing it up. I realize I selected the wrong. I don't want them to or give me a gift card. I want them to refund it to the card I originally used. So that got screwed up. So I called them just to get it over with before I mail it back today. And they're like, oh, actually, yeah. So if you had sent it, we would have just sent it back because the seal is broken. What's dumb, I got an email from them at the same time saying, make sure you turn off iCloud on the device. As if they clearly, I mean, you would have to turn it off if it.
You have the paper trail. You can make this work.
So then I call them, and then so at the end of the day, what ended up happening, working my way up the food chain, is I have to pay a 15% restocking fee.
No, come on.
And they'll sell it open box because they can't sell it used or new. Because it's, Apple packaging, so I kind of understand that.
Yeah.
But it kind of worked out because I used my Paybu card from B&H, which essentially you don't pay sales tax, or that's your reward, is the not paying sales tax. So that was what, $240 right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn about this till recently, but B&H has a creator account. So you can sign up if you're a creator, and Sony, Apple, tons of other companies have these huge discounts on B&H if you're a creator and buy stuff through B&H. So Apple had a pretty big, I think it's 7% creator discount.
Nice.
So pretty much all those discounts paid for the 15%. So now I'm just sidestepping.
So you're fine.
From the M1
You'll be okay.
to the M2. But yeah, long story short, just buy from Apple.
Yeah. Or eBay. Or eBay free returns. I mean, not eBay, Amazon.
Now,
if you're Prime.
Wait a
No,
couple
Prime,
days.
Prime with free returns is like the savior of all life. That is the best money I spend every year, is that Prime, whatever that annual thing is.
Yeah.
There seems to be a very difference, because I would say generally Europe is much more consumer friendly than the US is. There's all kinds of protections in. But for that stuff, the returning thing, the US seems to be an entirely different thing.
We live on a different plane.
So many times. Yeah, I've spoken to you so many times. I've got this, I've used it for a couple of weeks now, and I've sent it back. And I'm like, what?
Especially Amazon. Amazon is insane. Like Amazon is like, oh, okay, fine, return it. And
I got real mad and I smashed it against the wall. I don't want it anymore. They're like, sure, send it along.
Sure, it's okay. Not as described. Why? It just isn't. You can type in and then you return it. I mean, it's so ridiculous on Amazon. You don't even have to give a real reason. It's just like, and then if you do it through your phone, it says optional to write why. But if you do it through your computer, you have to write something. But it doesn't matter what you type. You could just put an asterisk and a couple of exclamation points, and they'll be like, okay, we'll accept that. Yeah.
I bought this thing.
If it's damaged, they'll send you another one, and you get to
they
keep the
will.
first one.
Yeah.
That I had
100%.
I get there occasionally with that, where you keep the damaged one and then all the accessories, which are good for the next one. It's great because it's all spares. I bought this coffee thing for the car. So you use the little espresso pods, but it's on a 12-volt socket. The thing's amazing. It's sitting right there. But the same thing, that broke. And they were going, I was like, there's something wrong with this thing. It's burning the coffee. It tastes disgusting. Oh. And they're going, no, that can't happen. Yep. It tasted great, and now it's gone wrong, and it's making horrible coffee, and it used to make good coffee. It's not any, this... Eventually, but it was a battle. Whereas there, it just seems you send it back and everything happens instantly.
No, here, I mean, but in all fairness, the amount of packages that show up here from Amazon is, in my place, is ridiculous. So I actually look at, when I'm on the phone with them, I think it's almost comical how much stuff is, purchased.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
You're not that far off, Brandon. That's ridiculous. So you're gonna now get the M2 Ultra, I'm assuming, Caleb.
Not
and
Ultra.
That's
no, that's too much. It's too much.
That's too much.
The Ultra is like the best of the best they have right now, right?
Yeah.
I got is it the Pro? I don't even know. Max? I think
Max.
it's Max.
Yeah.
So I went
and it's
the
not,
Ultra just seems like
2 Max. But like, what's crazy, I'm glad I did. And what's hilarious is if this announcement hadn't happened, I still would have been pleased as punch. It's an amazing machine from what I've read. But the fact that for the same price, I could go to the next version, M2 Max.
Yep.
50% more, whatever they say. And I also, for the same price, get a huge bump in GPU or core count.
Yeah.
I think I gain 2 more cores without spending any more for the CPU, and a huge amount for the GPU.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's I don't know what they're doing over there, but it was a big, huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Not just, because I was able to not only get the newer version of the chip, but also more cores and all this stuff for the same amount. It's crazy.
And this has been...
Yes, we are Brandon, M1 to M2.
Yeah. And no one knew that was coming, because there was quite a lot of, if you read the rumor sites, it was going, we think this is maybe a bit of a stopgap, and because this was the thing that was filling that gap that the M1, M2 Mac Pro, whatever it's the Pro, Mac Pro wasn't there. So it was a speculation that they may or may not end up upgrading it. So this is it for me now. So my PC is going to go on eBay as soon as I get back.
Well, they knew the MacBook Air was coming out, but both the Mac Studio update and the Mac Pro update were kind of a surprise. They were thinking maybe the Mac Pro. I'm just happy I got it's right here. I just got my new MacBook Pro like 3 weeks ago. So I would have been gutted in the same. And my situation was a little different because what I did is I used the friends and family discount through Apple. Because if you know somebody who works for Apple, you can get a discount. But then I didn't know that a refurb was also a qualification for the friends and family. So I doubled up. I wound up getting the MacBook Pro with the M2 Max, which is, the best that you can get in that machine. But I also got it with 96 gigs of RAM and a 4 terabyte drive for less than it would have been if I had no discounts at all. And then getting the refurb one. So it was still a lot of money, but it's whatever you can put into that machine, except for a larger hard drive. It has everything that you can put in there. So I'm still setting that up, but I'm glad they didn't update that.
I have a question for you on the refurb store stuff, because I've had this. I haven't bought anything from them for probably 8 or 9 years, but I used to buy a lot from that. And what used to happen was that any of the above standard spec upgrades that had been done weren't in the listing. So you would buy the thing. Right, okay. But that
now
was the thing,
like
wasn't it? You would get stuff, and then it was way better than the spec that it had been advertised at.
Oh, weird. No, it's...
Oh, no, I've never seen that. No, now they show you everything, and you just add Apple Care, which is what I did. And so then you're basically in the same boat. So now I've got 3 years on the machine, so I'm not going to worry about it. Because generally what goes wrong... not on laptops, though. If I had gotten a machine that was sitting on my desktop, I would have probably skipped it.
Well, I guess,
because I travel a lot with it, and I just figure... And also, when you're buying refurb, I figure laptop and refurb, if anything's going to go wrong, it usually goes wrong in the first year anyway, but I just want to make sure that I'm covered. Ono is in the Philippines. By the way, Ono, thank you for chiming in here, and good to see you or hear from you. We have a challenge next week, which is supposed to be happening on the channel. I'm going to say that nobody else except for Ono has submitted it. So I'm probably going to 86 it and just come up with a new challenge. I think it was just not the challenge that we need to do. So maybe we just need to do a Camera and Flask challenge. Like, say we're going to do something for August or something like that and just do it. I'm gone for all of July. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do live streams, but I'm out of town. But maybe that's what we're going to do. So I'm just throwing it out there to the chat right now that I don't think this challenge is going to be happening. Okay. It should have been salsa. You're probably right, Brandon. But Ono did create something, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to share that. And there you go. Andrew, good to have you here. Let's acknowledge the chat here because we have people. And maybe we start... talking about some stuff and getting people into the conversation. I just got back from CineGear. I think, obviously the Apple event just happened, so there's a lot of things to talk about there. But there's also some big things happening in the lighting world. And by big, I mean big and large output. And I think we're sort of entering this next phase of high-powered, high-output LED fixtures, and between Nanlux and Aperture and the things that are that are happening, it's kind of crazy what's happening. Have you been reading up on that, kids? Meaning Ben and Caleb? Well,
not one bit. Tell me.
Nanlux has announced a 2600 LED fixture. So no, 2400 for Nanlux, and that's a bicolor. And then Aperture announced and was showing at CineGear a 1500 watt full color fixture and a 2600 watt bicolor fixture at the show. Liquid cooled, I believe. I was talking to Brandon about it at Aperture, and ridiculous. Like, obviously the power draw on the 2600 watt fixture is not pluggable in this country, in the US, into a wall. But apparently they have a separate cable that you can plug in, and it will basically just regulate the power to the fixture based on what you're plugging it into. So it's pretty crazy, these new, I think they call them like Electrostorm or something like that.
Electrostorm, CS15, XT26, and F14 for now in Spotlight Max.
Is this going to be burning houses down in the US?
Yeah, right.
Probably. But, that's part of the transition. Between that and Vision Pro. You won't notice, though, because you'll have the headset on and your whole house will be burning down. Go ahead. Go ahead, Caleb. Sorry.
So, no, it's fine. XT, X stand for bicolor, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
C is for color.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the wattage is 2600. Is that a 1200D equivalent?
No, it's a 2600
No,
watt.
that's twice. No,
It's a
Twice the
little. It's
power.
more
that's
than
more
twice.
than twice.
More
Yeah,
than twice,
It's
dude.
1200.
These are beasts.
1200D
This
is
thing-
1200 watts.
It's the size of like a small little tiny car that they made in Russia in like the 60s. It's gigantic. And they have a whole new mounting system that's proprietary with electronics, kind of like the ARRI system. So they had this crazy Fresnel system, which is all electronically driven. It's some crazy stuff going on.
Good Lord, I'm looking at a picture of the box.
So it's 2,600, right?
Yeah, but it down
2600
converts.
watts.
Yes. No, it's a monster.
I'm just
You
working
have
out
to
how
see
many
this
amps
thing.
that is. So that's 10 amps. So in Europe, you can drive that with our power.
Yeah, but it's not a regular 10 amps. See, that's your power because you're a 220. We're
Yeah, we're
110 here.
220.
So like
Yeah, so you're-
it's unusual to even have a 20 amp circuit in a lot of places here in the US. 15 amp is pretty much standard, but it can't necessarily drive a 2600 watt fixture.
So
It's just too
on,
much.
on your supply, yeah, you're doubling it. So you're
We're effed.
more than doubling
Yeah,
it.
we're screwed.
You're 23 amps is what you're needing to drive that.
Correct, sir. The math is all, but they have I talked to Brandon and he said they have this new cable system where when you plug that cable in and then you plug it into, a US outlet, you're just not going to be able to take advantage of the power and the output of the fixture. It's going to downgrade it so that you can use it, let's say, on the 20 amp circuit, but you get
So is
reduced
that
output.
what your is that what a domestic circuit is in the US? 20 amps.
Most are 15.
No, most are 15. I have 20
Okay.
here. And it depends, like it depends, like, yeah, it depends. It depends what your panel is and how you're
Right.
running everything. But most are 15.
But
Single
no one
phase.
cares because those fixtures are going to fit into workflows where people are running generators.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what's
But
for that
that's an
industry. It's
interest.
not like, yeah.
Not
that's a big
to
step
replace a
for
20K.
Aperture.
No, I wouldn't say 20K. You're not getting a 10-to-1 output on those fixtures, but they'll be beefy. They're going to, it's so hard to equate it to a traditional HMI or a quartz halogen fixture, but it's beefy. But I will say when we did the Canon job, we used a 1200, a Nanlux 1200D, and we were in a room full of windows and we were shooting educational content, and we had to double up with like a 500 to get enough to hold the exterior. So we were
Right.
running close to 1800, 1800 watts in order to get the right exposure for that room. So it's going to be needed,
But I think it's, we've talked about before about Aperture and their Amaran thing kind of separating and this being very much more getting
Right.
into that kind of rental market stuff.
Yep.
That's a very big step to that for that power draw for
Huge
your
step.
part of the world.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, these lights are not being built for small crew production. These
No.
lights are built for G&E crews. So you've got a truck. It could be a small truck. It could be a Sprinter. But you're going to have a couple of people, 2-3 people on that van or that vehicle who really know G&E. And that's not I'm going to pick up the 2600 and that's going to be my main key light. That's just not the way it's going to work. So we're definitely entering a new phase here where LEDs are now starting to get into the true G&E category. Like you're going to have to, especially in this country, what's the panel? Do we have to tie in? You know, what's our generator? Is it going to be able to drive this thing? Yeah, it's a new phase for sure. And the 1200s will become sort of probably the biggest unit. Roscoe had this crazy thing called the Lion. It looked like a giant old movie camera in terms of size. And it's humongous. It weighs 60 pounds. It's all self-contained. And it's a 1500 watt power supply, but because of the heat that LEDs generate, it's only going to support about an 800 watt head right now. And when you open up the back of the unit, it's like a flux capacitor. You turn it and you take a head out, and one of them's a color one and one's a bicolor, which has more output.
Wow.
So you literally turn it and pull out the whole light engine, and you put another one in and you turn it, and it's a flux capacitor. It's crazy.
Nice.
And also the new aperture fixtures, and Nanlite and Nanlux have been doing this for a while now, are finally starting to have a plus minus green adjustment, which has not been in their fixtures for up until this point. So it's gonna be I think that Nanlite, Nanlux, and aperture, they're gonna be going at it for the next few years. It's just gonna be like a boom, boom, boom. And I did speak to Nanlite, and they are definitely working on the app because they know that Sidus Link is sort of the feather in Aperture's cap. You know, the rest of it is, once they get the app going, then it's just going to be like boom, 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 900C versus this, and they're just going to be, it's going to be a boxing match, which is great for us.
Hopefully they put a battery in the light bulbs. That'd be nice.
Yes.
Yeah. That's another discussion. Yeah, that I've talked to them about. That's ridiculous.
And is it coming?
They didn't give me an answer. I just mentioned it to them at NAB. Thaddeus says, did Ari show anything new? Really more on the camera side and the monitoring side. Nothing fixtures-wise, though they did just drop the price of sky panels by 50%. So I'm wondering if it's maybe an IBC thing, that they come out with new LED panels, because really it was Alexa 35. It was the new Small HD Ari collaboration with the new monitor. They had an amazing little set at the show, which was essentially Tim Burton's Wednesday. So they had this really cool long set, and then they had this woman playing violin, and it was all based on the Addams Family kind of look and feel.
Nice.
It was really well done. So that was really good.
The other really interesting thing from CineGear I saw, sorry, if you're still talking, Harry.
No.
I had a quick look through New Shooter stuff. Did you see the box cart? I know it's us, so it's carts time code.
Oh, yeah.
But did you see this thing?
I didn't see it in person.
From Volkas.
They were very Dutch. The guy that was presenting that Eric was interviewing.
Wait,
I think,
Case Cart?
Yes, Case Cart. So it is a big kind of storm case, Peli
that's
case.
Amazing.
And it's got properly big caster wheels on it on the bottom.
You want to share it? Can you share?
I'm not set up for that right now. I'm like in between setups.
No, go.
And so then the thing comes, you open the top, and then you pull out a shelf. But underneath the shelf, you can store your stuff, so you can then pull that out, bring it on top of the shelf. And the shelf is also, when it's retracted back into the case, that will then put the casters in, so you can fly with it, you can do whatever. What it doesn't say on the spec and on Eric's interview is how heavy the thing is without anything in it, and it looks probably quite
it's gonna
heavy.
Be heavy.
So if you're flying with it, you're probably going to be quite close to your limit before you put anything in that box, I would say. I have the same size case, which I use a lot, but it's, you're taking 8-9 kilos of your 23 kilo allowance just on the box. So this is going to take it even closer. But that aside, very clever, very innovative, very interesting. But the price, again, it just doesn't stand. I think it's like if you're looking at it now, Caleb, I can't remember what the price.
$2,750 US.
It's a $500 case, and then a shelf on top. And some casters that you can get from a hardware store. Obviously they got to make some money, but it's kind of.
It's a lot of money to make.
It's more money than I think it justifies. It's a really good idea, but it sits. If that was like 800,000. Maybe 1,000.
Like
800 you go for it.
Yeah. It looks like a really big Pelican case, tall Pelican case chest with wheels on it that are detachable underneath, huge casters that are detachable. And then you open the lid and legs come up and you put a top on it. And then the whole thing collapses back down into the case.
That's a much better.
But for almost $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon, I went to CineGear. I don't know who else went, but there you go. I saw Bart there. Bart was there. Bart Johnson.
Oh,
I ran into him a few times, so it's the first time I've seen him in a long time. So that was good.
Other news for the show that I just saw here that I'm interested in is these Rangers, the Laowa Ranger zooms.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they added a new one. They announced another one that's wide.
Oh,
how
wider
wide?
than the 28 to 75?
Yeah. There's a wider one in the family too. I don't. you have to watch the video. 16 to 30. So they're covering basically the whole range, full frame. They're going to be about $3,000 a piece.
Yep.
So under 10 grand for the 3 lens set. If they do a special where they sell 3 of those for $7,500 to $8,000,
nice.
It's kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of like your full frame Fuji.
Yeah, and
right?
but it's as crazy as they're about. I did the math. I got a early spec sheet of the weight, and I can't remember how much more, but they're not much more. They don't weigh much more at all than the.
They're really small.
They're
nuts. You think about a cinema camera and those 3 in a case at a T2.9. There's not much you can't shoot. You're gonna have to have 1 or 2 primes in there if you just want to go like balls to the walls, wide open. But you can shoot a T229 on most projects is going to get you where you need to be. Yeah. So, yeah. It's
documentary heaven. That on an FX6, like those are going to be gangbusters.
For sure. No kidding. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. David's gonna buy that 2600, at least the 1500. You are, David. You can't help yourself. What do I think about Zeiss basically ending their photo lens business? It's not true, Brad. There's a lot of rumors out there. I know the people at Zeiss pretty well. I think that rumor is a rumor. And Matt Allard said as much as well. So I don't think they are killing all of their lenses in the photo lens business. But maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know that to be true at this point. So that's all I got to say about that. But you can pry my Otis lenses out of my cold dead hands because those things are amazing. What do you mean absolutely not, David? That you're not buying it? You're buying it. Come on. Or are you talking about the Zeiss thing? There's no way, David. When that one of those new aperture lights come out, you are 100%. I'm not going to bet you on it, but I'm pretty sure you're going to buy one of those things. All right. Yeah, Pro Light. I saw Pro Light stuff. The 675 is a great looking fixture. Kelvin was there with their 300 and their 600, which is also the EPOS lights are great. And they have now announced the little panel light we had at the workshops, the Play.
Yeah.
They've done a Play Pro that's coming out, which has wireless DMX built into it. And then the intro price is like $229. And it's a really nice light because it's an 18 watt panel light as opposed to the MC Pro, which has a much lower output than that. So I really do like in a panel, like a little panel light. It's really cool.
And to be honest, even if you don't feel like you have application for that light, you can just get it out of the box and touch it and play with it and put it back in again, and it's worth that. It's just the nicest thing ever.
I wish I had recorded
all that stuff's like that.
It really is. It's so well built and it's so clever. Like you turn it upside down and the screen just flips. The app is really great, and it's the only RGB ACL panel light so far in that form factor.
Spend his money on. Forget aperture, David.
Yeah, come on,
these guys out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, well, they might not develop any new ones. You might be right, Brad, on Zeiss. That I could see. I don't think they're going to kill their lenses, though. I do know that they're not really going to do anything with. It's not Bodice or Loxia. What's the Tuit line? The Tuit line is basically done. That I know.
Was that the Sony only thing?
I think they may have only done Tuit E-mount. But the Bodice ones are great, and then they have the little Tuits are those little mini tiny tanks of a lens. Not the Loxias. I mean, the Loxia lenses.
Those
are really
cool. Those were.
They're
really
full
cool.
frame, really tiny little lenses. I still like those Loxias. Those are, but you kind of see that now with Laowa with their anamorphics, those nanomorphs and stuff. Have either of you tried the nanomorphs?
No.
Caleb, have you tried nanomorphs?
Nope.
They've got a 40 millimeter. I'm tempted. But I think it's a 1.6, so maybe it's okay. I don't know. I don't need any more stuff. All right. I'm going to get more stuff. I don't need more
You're
stuff.
gonna get it. It's going to sit on the shelf.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I got to stop. That's
the thing about this autofocus lens getting so good is, I mean, like those Rangers, I'm like doing the math. I'm like, I should get those. Like, that'd be so cool. Use them. I know I'm just going to put a Sony E-mount with good autofocus on there or a Sigma lens. Yeah. And just use that. Thing.
What's the little one you have? The little tiny one that you have that you use, which is that Sigma. It's not the 18 to 35.
16 to 50 Sigma.
It's 16? It's not 18?
I'm sorry, 18 to 50, yep. 2.8. Minimum focus distance is about half a pinky. Yeah.
It's like a little pinch for the Vision Pro.
It's a macro.
That's how far away
it's a macro wide to medium in one.
It's a rock star, and it's not expensive.
Nope.
Right? What is it? Like $599? Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
But it is that thing with the AF. It's like the Milvus every year. I'm always tempted to get a full set of Milvus lenses and then just go, but how much would I really use them?
Yeah.
I do officially know what my dream camera is now, though, even though the whole ecosystem with an Alexa 35. Oh my God.
Okay, sure.
Well, it's super 35 millimeter, but it's just insane. It's so good.
Let me ask you this: with this dream camera, let's say you could get it tonight, and you go and get it.
Yeah.
Would you actually use it for day-to-day stuff? Because I mean, what you do shoot stuff where you're going out and doing, I don't want to use the term real production, but percentage of your life's work, how much would you use that?
No,
versus...
absolutely true. I would fundamentally have to change what I do in terms of content creation, because when I go out and do a corporate job, we do rent Alexas, or I rent or hire a DP who owns Alexas for projects. But the reality is, for the things that I do day in and day out, as opposed to every 2 to 3 months, I absolutely would not be using it the way I should be. And I'm not in a market where I can do a sub rental. If I still lived in New York or New Jersey, I could sub-rent that body through Able or Adorama or somebody else.
Yeah.
And it could be a sub-rental all the time. But where I am, it does not make any sense whatsoever for me to have a camera like that. I'd be much better off getting something like an FX9 or a C300 Mark III or something in that realm.
Yeah.
A C70, but the image off of that I really like. I mean, we were using three of those for the R5C series that I just shot, but that's the true answer to that question. And it's just, if I could have a camera that I would own in the cinema realm, that would be the camera. But it requires an ecosystem, a focus puller, a really nice set of cine lenses and probably zooms, primes and zooms, and everything else that fits in. But it's, that's the dream camera. Who else? Anybody else want to chip in? Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I shot a project with the Alexa, not the new one, but a couple of years ago with a set of beautiful cut primes. And it's lovely, but I would never want to own one. It's just it's the same thing that it's kind of, that was for a feature. We were doing second unit on a feature, and that's got that whole infrastructure around it, and it's great, and it was good. And every time you picked it up, turned the thing on, it was a bit tingly. It was a bit almost starstruck when you're working with those things, particularly on something like that. It's great. It's lovely.
Yep.
Particularly with those lenses, which were just stunning. But yeah, like for the stuff that I do most of the time. No,
well, and my question was kind of a dumb question when you think about it, because it's like dream car, Enzo Ferrari special edition, whatever. Yeah. Well, you can actually drive that every single day, Jim.
Well, right.
No, but but it's a it's a valid thing. But it's a valid But it's a valid thing to bring up, because the reality is, as soon as you go into a non-AF based camera system that's a true digital cinema camera, it's not a single operator deal anymore. You are in a totally different ecosystem and workflow. If I were making, feature films or episodic television, then it makes total sense. That is, that's what you want. And you really, that new sensor on that Alexa 35 is unlike any sensor that's ever been developed. I mean, the dynamic range, but more importantly, the latitude, how much you can push it in terms of stops, under or overexposed, is unparalleled 100%. I did confirm with Ari that they will not be able to do with this sensor what they've done with their previous sensor. It is not stitchable. So they can't create a full frame. They can't do a 65. They can't do any of that stuff. It is a Super 35, but obviously all of that R&D can easily be translated into a full frame sensor when and if they decide to. And it's a 4K sensor right now, and the reality is, with the Vision Pro, to come full circle to what we were talking about in the beginning, with all of the stuff with virtual production, 8K cameras don't seem so strange anymore, because as soon as you have to have a field of view in terms of an experience that goes beyond a two-dimensional 16 by 9 screen, 8K resolution makes a lot of sense. We're also delivering so much 4K content now that if you want that 4K to 1080 math, you've got to go 8K to 4K in order to be able to punch in and reframe and crop. I love a 5.9 or 6K camera, but it's still not giving you the same amount of cropping flexibility that you get going from 4K to 1080. So you got to go 8K. So I think we're going to see a lot of 8K cameras in the near future. Time is coming. Yep. Crazy.
Medium format's starting to look pretty interesting also for
I won't say anything about that, but I will say that
as we're getting into this crazy, we need insane
IMAX in your pocket. Right now
on a
two companies have that potential right now, and they're not the companies that we talk about every day. It's DJI, who owns Hasselblad, and Fuji, who obviously is in the medium format game.
Did you say the two companies that we don't talk about every day? You talk about Fuji every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I mean it from the standpoint of they're not the cameras that we're talking about all of the time. I love Fuji
Those
cameras,
particular
but
cameras, yes.
yes, but medium format is really DJI and Fuji's,
It is,
to have. And I think there will be an interesting thing in the future. Be really interesting if companies like Arri or Sony or Canon also got into that larger than full frame game.
But Sony were doing that sensor-wise, weren't they? But for other people.
At some point.
Well, they're doing the sensors.
The sensors.
They just have to figure out lenses. That's all.
Yeah, that's a whole other. And is it worth it? I mean, Oppenheimer is not going to be the one thing that pushes the entire industry to do small digital IMAX cameras, But I'm sure looking forward to seeing that movie.
Hey, if the market goes there.
If the market goes there.
There's two comments here that could be whole episodes.
Yes.
Brad says, how about an open-ended question? Now that we're past NAB and CineGear, what are y'all looking forward to seeing the most in the future? Now that we're past the big announcy stuff.
Yep.
And then, Brandon's like everyone's dream camera.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'll do a very fast answer to Brad's. I think that we're sort of seeing where where lighting is going. I don't think that's the big discussion right now, but we haven't seen a lot in the camera area. There's a lot of companies who are kind of due. So whether that's this year or going into next year, I think it's is Panasonic ever going to do another digital cinema camera, or are they keeping this all in the S1 kind of realm? Where does Sony go from the FX6, FX9? Do they ride that out for another couple of years? Blackmagic's an interesting company. They haven't really done anything.
Wouldn't it be wild if they came out with a medium format?
Wouldn't it?
They don't give a fart.
Wouldn't it?
They don't care.
Yeah.
We're not going to do
give a crap
anyway. So.
Yeah. We've already got a 12K camera, so why not just do a medium
buy
format
another
camera?
Sony sensor and just put it in a big old plastic box and
Yep.
Yeah.
$39.95.
Let's do it.
Done.
We can do it. And then
Blackmagic
and then
Raw.
Canon. And then Canon. Oh, and now we're starting to see finally ProRes RAW having the real plug-in capability to do some of the things that Blackmagic Raw is doing. That's also a new thing we all haven't talked about, but that's just started to happen finally.
It has.
So are we going to start to see digital cinema cameras that have ProRes RAW with all of the capabilities of a plugin that lets you go in and make all of the changes that we've expected to make since day one? But I think Canon could be really interesting too. I'm not anticipating anything in the very near future, but obviously that C70 and that C300 Mark III, we could see that C300 Mark III is still EF mount.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But
Dustin
dream-wise,
got a
it's kind
Komodo.
of, I don't know. I don't really dream about cameras anymore. It's kind of, I feel like what I'm using right now for the work I'm doing right now is all good.
Yeah.
Very happy with everything. And
if you're just starting out and you don't care about stills, I mean, I love all the cameras that are on the market, but there's no question an FX30 makes a lot of sense for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Sure.
It's just, if you need AF, it's the ingredients are there. Enough ingredients are there that camera makes a lot of sense. And I can be partial to other camera systems, but that FX30...
There's an FX10 coming soon. Even cheaper.
Really?
Wow.
That's pretty much confirmed as coming up here. FX30, but with different specs and even cheaper. So it's bonkers. And then somebody needs to check in on Zcam, see if they're okay over there. I haven't.
and Confinity. Don't forget Confinity.
Yeah, Confinity.
They came out with
guy.
something recently. Someone I follow on Twitter, I think, just ordered one. So crazy, boys and girls. So the next 2 weeks I'll be gone. Bit of business as it's 6:04.
Yeah.
I'll be gone the next 2 weeks. Well,
Yeah.
actually, it doesn't matter because I'll be back. I think for the next show.
Yes.
The
When is the next
July
show?
5th.
Oh my God.
Yep.
That'll be from Scotland. Hopefully, there's even.
You'll be gone, right?
Well, I'll be in Scotland, but I'll have my computer, and we should do it from Scotland as long as the internet in Chiquaire is working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
TBD.
Or you could come down here for the 5th, and we could just do it here.
Oh God, yeah, my family would love that. First family vacation in like 40
can nip
gazillion
down and
years
do
after
this.
the pandemic. And oh, by the way, I'm driving down to the Lake District to go get drunk with Ben and do Camera and Flask. They'll be thrilled about that. You can come up and do it in Scotland, though. You're very welcome.
We could maybe do that. Let's see.
You and I will talk about that.
Okay.
But next week, I will tell you, I'm going to change the description. We're not going to do the challenge as is because there's just too few people. It's going to be lame. But I will do an episode on the channel next week. I promise. And we're just going to keep this going. But let's go for July 5th if we can. I think that's the goal here.
It's going in the diary right now.
Yeah, and I'll come in. Yeah, next year I'll call in from Scotland with my Vision Pro avatar. That's very scary. Yeah, Black Mirror. Good. Great to see you guys
Boom.
and everybody
Lovely
here.
to see you too.
Yes.
Yeah. Love you guys and enjoy your time away, Caleb. I'm sure it'll be
Thank you much.
fantastic.
I can't believe
we
we're
will
missing
talk-
each other by so few.
I
little
know.
times.
That's the
But
way it
anyway.
goes. But
I know
really,
three of us we could have all
Coordinate this
been
the
in one
future.
place again.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Next time.
Anyway, next time.
yeah. Andrew, we will do another challenge. I will regroup, and we'll probably make it a Camera and Flask challenge. Maybe we'll talk about it from Scotland when I'm thoroughly sloshed, as they say. And all the best. All right, everybody. Great
All right.
stuff.
Love
and
you all. Thanks for hanging out.
Lovely.
See ya.
Much love, everybody. See you soon.
bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.